Hello my beautiful friends and family, welcome back to my page. Today we're going to be making some delicious patty. We're going to be making some beef and cheese patty, and we're also going to be making some curry chicken patty. Thank you so much for stopping by. I really appreciate your love and support. And to start off, I'm going to be showing you two different dough. For this first one, I'm adding 4 cups of all-purpose flour. I'm going to add 1 egg. I added 3 tablespoons of sugar and a pinch of salt, and I'm going to be using food coloring for this one. Not everyone uses food coloring, so for the next dough I will show you a different method. I'm adding some shortening, butter, and these were frozen, and I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of vegetable oil, and I also added a pinch of baking soda or baking powder, whichever one you have. I'm going to be using my hands to break the butter on the shortening. If you don't want to do this, you can put everything in a food processor, all right, if you don't want to get your hands messy. So when I have a crumb-like consistency, I'm going to go ahead and gradually add my water, and I'm using iced cold water. So you're basically gradually adding the water until your dough is formed. So you don't want to pour too much water in there. All right, there are a few more ingredients that you can add to your dough to get your patty crust very flaky. However, someone that works at a patty place told me what to get, but when I look it up, it is only sold in bulk. And another thing is you can get the beef sweat from your butcher. That's something that you have to get from your butcher. So if you have a butcher and you eat beef, good for you. They have the beef sweat that they add to the patty dough that makes your patty very flaky. All right, so now that my dough is ready, I'm going to put it in a plastic wrap, and I'm going to wrap it tightly and add it to my fridge. If you're not going to use the dough right away, you can put it in your freezer, and then when you're ready to use it, you take it out like 2 hours before so that it can get soft for you to roll it out. All right, I'm going to use this the same day, so I'm just going to put it in my refrigerator. Now for those countries that don't have food coloring, or for those people who don't want to use food coloring, you can use annatto powder. It's a natural color that comes from a fruit, and if you have the seed or the powder, in my case I have the powder, so I'm adding 1 tablespoon to 3 tablespoons of oil, and I'm using vegetable oil. I put it in a bowl so that it doesn't burn. Or you can just go ahead, add the seed to your pot, add your vegetable oil, put it on low to medium heat so that it doesn't burn, and allow it to extract the beautiful bright color. This is what they use to give cheese the color, so it's super natural. All right, so now that we have a nice bright orange color, we're just going to take it off, allow it to cool down, and then I'm going to strain it off in a nice clean napkin. So for the next dough, I'm using 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I'm using half stick of butter along with my annatto oil, and we're going to use this along with the other ingredients such as the salt, sugar, a pinch of baking powder or baking soda, and 1 egg. All right, so we're going to go ahead, do the same method, and we're going to knead this up. I want to knead it up so that you can see that the color comes out just the same as if you were using the food coloring, and this is all natural. So it's up to you which one is more accessible, which one you want to use. It's up to you. At least I give you 2 options. So this is the same process where I gradually add the ice water until my dough is formed. Then we're going to go ahead, wrap it up, place it in the refrigerator, and then we're going to move on to making our filling. I'm going to be making some ground beef and some curry chicken. So we're going to start off with the ground beef first, and I have some herbs blended, some scallion, onion, thyme, Scotch bonnet pepper. Everything is blended in here, and also you cannot leave out the garlic. All right, I'm also going to make my breadcrumbs. You can either grate it and add it to the beef when you're cooking it, or you can blend it. In my case, I'm going to blend it out. And what the breadcrumbs does, it sucked in the moisture on the gravy from the beef, and it releases it when the patty is baking so that your ground beef remains moist. So we're just going to break it up. I think I use about 3 slices, and I'm going to pour it in my bowl and set it aside until I'm ready to use it. I'm also going to use some in my curry chicken as well. So the ground beef that I'm using is 93% lean, 7% fat. I add my blended herbs to that, and I'm gonna go ahead and add my powdered seasoning. I already blended some fresh thyme with my herbs, but I'm gonna go ahead and add some dry thyme for extra flavor. While my beef is cooking, I'm adding in my powdered seasoning, and go ahead and season to your liking. I added some black pepper, some beef seasoning, and I'm just gonna go ahead and allow this to cook down. All right, I'm gonna add a little color by adding some meat sauce, and I'm also gonna add some browning. Also remember to taste your meat to make sure that it has the perfect flavor for you. As soon as it's cooked, I add my breadcrumb before the liquid dried out completely, and then I take it off the stove right away. Alright, so as you can see, the breadcrumbs absorb everything, and then when it's cooking, it will hold the moisture inside. Alright, so now we're gonna go ahead and prepare our curry chicken. I'm gonna start the process by burning my curry. I'm using ground chicken, so I want to make sure that the curry is properly cooked because the chicken is grounded fine and it doesn't take a very long time to cook, so you have to make sure that the curry is cooked before. So I'm gonna burn the curry for a couple minutes, and then I'm gonna start adding a little water gradually to help the curry to cook and get smooth. And I'm using boiling water from my kettle, so I just add a little and allow it to boil down. After about 5 minutes, you'll realize that the liquid is reduced. You can add a little more and then give it another 5 minutes and then add your chicken. And I'm using ground chicken, so if you don't have that, you can just use some thighs, debone the thighs because thighs are very juicy and it's perfect for this. So go ahead, debone the thighs or buy the deboned thighs and just chop it up finely. So I added some of the herbs that I blended previously, and this is not how I would normally cook my curry chicken, but as I mentioned before, I'm using ground chicken. So I just add it to the pot, add my blended herbs and my powdered seasoning, and allow it to cook. So now that it's properly seasoned and everything is properly combined, I'm just going to go ahead and cover it, and when you cover it, it will continue to cook and produce its own liquid. So I'm just going to cover it on low to medium heat and allow it to simmer for at least 15 minutes and then add my breadcrumb mixture. So after removing this from the stove, we're going to pour it in a bowl and set it aside to cool down. And then we're going to move on to rolling out our dough. So with clean hands and a clean surface, we're going to make sure that we have sufficient amount of flour on our surface so that when we're rolling out our dough, it doesn't stick to the rolling pin. And we're going to roll this out very, very thin. This is how you're going to get your patty very flaky. After doing the first rolling out process, you can add some shortening before folding it. That will help with the flakiness of your patty since we don't have the other ingredients to use. But if you don't care that much about flakiness, you don't have to go through all of that. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to fold it up. It's very important to dust your counter properly so that it doesn't stick. As you can see, mine is not sticking to the counter and it's not sticking to my rolling pin. So for this next roll, it's gonna be a bit of a task, but as you continue to roll, you'll realize that it gets easier and easier. So you can do this like 3 to 4 times for extra flaky patty. So when I was rolling mine out, I wanted it really flaky, so I roll it out about 5 times. You don't have to be as extra as I am, but I don't have the machine. I think maybe if you have like a pasta machine, the one that they used to make the pasta dough, that would probably work. But if you don't already have that, you don't have to go out of your way to get it, because as you can see, I'm enjoying this. I'm enjoying this rolling out process. So basically what this rolling out process does, it creates a layer of pocket in between each rollout. So every time you fold it, it creates a pocket. So that is what gives you that flakiness that you want in your patty. So now that we have done our last rolling out, we're gonna go ahead and make some beef patty. I just add my ground beef, then my cheese, any cheese that you want to add. I'm using some sliced cheese. Next, I'm going to go ahead and fold over my dough, and then I'm going to use my hands to just flatten the cheese and the beef and then use my pastry cutter to cut it almost in the shape of a C. As you can see, I had too much dough right here, so my first patty was very huge, which I didn't mind because after it's baked it's filled up with the cheese and the beef. But then I went on to do my chicken, and you can use a fork to seal it as I'm showing you in this video if you don't have a cutter. And for the remaining dough that was left after cutting, I rolled them out again. And this is another dough cutter that I have, that I think I bought it on Amazon a while back. I just use it to cut it out, and then I place it on top and add my ground beef and my cheese, and then fold it over and press to seal. It's almost like, I think it's made to make a empanada. Like if you're making an empanada, you'd use this because these came out small, almost like a cocktail patties. All right, so for the curry chicken patty, just like in Jamaica, I mark it with some green color to differentiate from the beef ones. So I place them on my parchment paper and I bake them for about 20 minutes at 350 degrees. And here they are. My patty is done and out of the oven. And I'm going to break it so that you can see all the juiciness, all the goodness. These two at the front are the two first ones that I made. As you can see, they are extra large. So we're going to call them extra large patties. And look at that, guys. You can see the heat, you can see the beef and the cheese, and you can see the flakiness in the dough. It hasn't reached the stage as the Jamaican patty. When you bite it, the whole close full of crumbs, but I'm getting there. I'm getting there, and it tastes amazing. So that's what matters. All right, Tashika was here and she was enjoying the curry chicken patty. Look at that, guys. Look at flakes. Very, very good. These were probably the best patties that I've made. I have made it before using turmeric, but the turmeric kind of leave a strong taste in the patty dough that I don't like, and also it messes up everything. All your plate yellow, your napkins are yellow, everything just leave yellow. So I rather to use the annatto, or if you want to use the food coloring, you can use that. All right, thank you all so much for watching. A lot of people have been requesting the party video, and I hope you guys are here and watching. Thank you, and enjoy the rest of your week.